Man, it's the T-Train Show. Y'all know what time it is, man. What up, T? What up? Hot Rod. What up? L-Train. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's the Breed of Hard.
Here we are. Welcome to another edition of 3 the Hard Way. I got my partners with me. The first one, as you all know, the guy that wants all the smoke, as he says, the influencer, Mr. Hot Rod, Rodney Young. What's the deal, Hot Rod?
What is going on, 3 the Hard Way Nation? My fellas, how y'all doing? Merry Christmas to all of y'all. Y'all know who this is. It's your friendly neighborhood coach. And as I always say, you may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen.
And stand at attention, the captain of 3 the Hard Way, Mr. Terrence Austin. What's up, T?
Merry Christmas. What's happening, fellas? What's happening, everyone out there? 3 the Hard Way Nation. Let's go. I can't wait. Let's get this ship underway. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, my man Hot Rod called it last week. I was like, well, you're going to get a lot of smoke from the Pittsburgh Steelers fans. The Browns, who had only won 3 games thus far, got their 4th victory today against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Low-scoring affair, 13-6 Cleveland Browns victory in Cleveland Stadium. Lots to talk about there, fellas, but give me your first impression of what you saw today in the massacre by Lake Erie with the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey, you know what, fellas? We kept that team out the end zone.
That's right.
Kept them out of the end zone, okay? They really missed DK Metcalf today. They really, really did. But hey, DK, maybe next time you'll stay away from the fans and pay attention to what's going on the field.
That's right.
Hey, Shedeur was 17 of 23 for 186 yards. However, 2 picks, and that second one was ugly. It was ugly. But that's okay. He's a 5th rounder, okay? He's a 5th rounder. He's the 3rd-string quarterback. Hasn't been getting any reps up until, 3-4 weeks ago. I'm happy what I saw to the kid today. I really, really am. Now, it was a tale of 2 halves. He was on point the first half. Second half, he just kind of held it in the road, kept the truck in the road, didn't veer off. All right? Kept the truck in the road. Going up against a tough team. Despite not having TJ Watt, they still got other players on that team. They are the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? They are a team that has a winning culture and has been winning ever since I've been alive. So I give Shedeur credit today for just gutting it out. And our defense, especially our 2 corners, and I know Rod will pick up on them. Our 2 corners were spectacular, okay? They, bend it, but they did not break. They kept us in the game. Once again, our rookie class showed up. And again, that's the core going forward, this rookie class. All of the rookies going forward, having a off season, and then getting ready for next year. So bottom line, I really enjoyed what I saw out of my hometown team today, okay? Getting it done when you had to get it done. Despite really, they didn't have anything to play for.
Right.
But again, it was one of those things where we're professional athletes. Let's go out there and get it done. And I'm glad the fans showed up. I thought Steeler Nation, just 2 hours east of us, was going to take over that stadium, but they didn't. All right. They're on their way back to Pittsburgh now on that turnpike, crying in their beer. So way to go, Browns. Way to get it done. I think Rod said it in the pregame. Stefanski outcoached Mike Tomlin today. He really did. He outcoached Mike Tomlin today. Yeah. And how often does Stefanski outcoach another, especially this season.
Yeah.
So way to go, Browns. Way to go. I am happy about this win. Again, this is hopefully, my prayer is this is the beginning of a culture shift in Cleveland. Okay. This is the beginning. I think we got our quarterback. Let's put some pieces around him and let's build on this. Go ahead, Rod. Let's build on this.
Often does Kevin Stefanski
outcoach
somebody, but how often does Hot Rod give Kevin Stefanski some kudos? That's like seeing a unicorn out in the field somewhere.
Let's hear it out, Rod.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I look at it in its totality, and of course, I always have to preface my comments on Shedeur by saying I'm not a Shedeurian and I'm not a hater. The first interception that Shedeur threw, it was a tip, hit off the helmet. Can't do anything about that. He almost threw a pick six. Luckily, the linebacker
Yeah.
doesn't have any hands,
Yeah.
Right.
or he would have threw a pick six. That was a bad ball that he threw. But it's a learning experience because he has to understand that you got to be able to. Tony Romo said it. You got to hit the flat faster than that. You can't look at the flat, then look somewhere else, and then think the flat is still going to be open. If you're going to throw to the flat, throw to it. The one to Jerry Jeudy was probably the worst ball I've ever seen. That was the worst decision that I think he's ever made.
Yep. Yep.
When they cut to Dion up in the box and he took his cowboy hat off and put it in his face, Dion knew that was a horrible ball that he threw.
Now, Rod, did Jeudy stop running on that route though? Even though that was a bad throw, but did Jeudy stop running?
I'm trying to give Jerry Jeudy a pass, but looking at that play, I cannot. That ball went in the air. It was floating for days.
Agreed.
Jerry Jeudy, as a wide receiver, you are taught if you can't catch it or it's about to be picked off, then you turn into the defensive back.
Right. Okay.
You try to knock the ball down. And in the territory that they were in, Jerry Jeudy could have got an offensive pass interference. I would have tackled the man before the ball got there because in the area they were in, they would have got a penalty, but they would have still had the possession of the ball. So that's a bad play on both guys. Shador,
because Michael Irvin would have tackled that defender. Michael Irvin would have tackled him.
But throwing the pass back across his body, and for Jerry Jeudy not to fight for the football. But first half, Shador looked clean. I think, like you said, Cap, he missed Harold Fannin Jr. bad. By Harold Fannin not being out there, it actually was a good or bad. It was a good, bad thing. Good thing. Because Shador had to throw to somebody else, which Jerry Jeudy got some passes. Isaiah Bond, Cedric Tillman got one 35-yard pass. Shador played well in the first half. Second half, they started bringing pressure to him. And the pressure started getting through because Robinson, the left tackle, is the worst that I've ever seen in the history of NFL football.
He's awful.
I mean, his holding penalties was so egregious. Like he was tackling guys out there. But
didn't he play at Michigan too? Didn't he play at Michigan?
I don't know.
I think he
probably did because he stinks. So I mean, overall, I say this. Pittsburgh were missing some pieces. They were missing TJ Watt, who had a surgery on his lung, so he could not participate. DJ Metcalf, I don't feel bad for because he put himself in that position because even with Pittsburgh now, he can't even play in the game next week. He's out 2 games. So he can't even play in that game next week. So was it really worth it? That's you have to ask DK Metcalf. Was it worth it? That it wasn't. And now I'm gonna even go a bit deeper. So the Browns are now 4-12, which means their draft status has gone down. If Shador wins next week, you're looking at a lower tier in terms of your first round pick. You're not now. I know the Browns are crazy, but they're not that crazy. They're not going to package 2 first round picks just to move up for Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza. They're not going to do that. So Shador Sanders quietly has just put a monkey wrench in whatever thought process the Browns had to go get a quarterback in the first round. Okay, so now Andrew Berry has got to think, what's my plan B? Your plan B is Shador starting at quarterback next year with Deshaun Watson as a backup and Dylan Gabriel behind him. That's your plan. And then you build around him. But I would not be a Browns fan if I did not say shame on the Steelers. Good, that's what y'all get because Mike Tomlin spent so much time and effort to try to stop Myles Garrett from getting the record against them. You could tell he went away from his entire game plan to try to stop Myles Garrett, and it cost him. And shout out to, Jim Schwartz. They held the Pittsburgh Steelers to 6 points.
Kept them out the end zone.
0 points in the second half. So shout out to him. Okay, I know I'm giving Kevin Stefanski his flowers for the first time all season, but I'm not going to neglect Jim Schwartz. He did an absolutely fantastic job. Isaiah McGuire had 2 sacks. They were so worried about Myles Garrett that everybody else got off. And then Campbell had a fantastic game.
Campbell balled out today. He balled out.
They kept trying.
He balled out.
And then at the end of the game, You decide because you can't go on Campbell's side,
Right.
you want to go against perennial All-Pro,
Number
okay,
21.
Denzel Ward.
Number 21.
Denzel Ward. Okay. So shame on Mike Tomlin. You thought that the Browns were going to lay down, and they didn't. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers get eliminated, don't be surprised if that's the last time you see Pittsburgh's coach.
Wow, man, that's a big statement. And you know what? And I'll say this. I'll have a little pushback on the Kevin Stefanski love. I don't give Kevin Stefanski any credit for anything. When I said Kevin Stefanski lost the locker room a few weeks ago, I believe Kevin Stefanski has lost the locker room a few weeks ago. And I've always said this about coaches. Sometimes when things are going real well, coaches get too much of the credit, and when things aren't going so well, they get too much of the blame. This is a situation where the players today decided to show up, and I give all credit to the players. It says something about a team when you have two entities like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, and you have Pittsburgh that has so much to play for. Like, if they get this win, they win the North. They have so much to play for. And the Cleveland Browns, who's only won 3 games, you would think they would be halfway to Cancun right now. But the fact that those guys decided to show up today for whatever reason, and maybe it was Kevin Stefanski, but I'm not giving him any credit for that. Those guys decided, hey, we're going to give Pittsburgh Steelers a hell of a game. My question to you guys, and Hot Rod kind of touched on it, because I never looked at it as, if Shedeur wins this game next week, that really puts them out of the running for one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft. But my question to you fellas, if you had to make a decision today to go forward with Shedeur Sanders after 6 games, and this doesn't have to be a yes or no answer. You can give your explanation, but in your minds, in your heart, have you seen enough from Shedeur to be positive either way, whether or not he's a franchise guy, or do you go forward with Shedeur Sanders? Have you seen enough from this young man?
I have, and it's worthy enough to give him an off season to prepare him to be the starter next year. Give him the entire off season. Again, like we said in the pregame show,
Yeah.
build around him, tweak that offensive line. Well, not tweak it. Well, do a little bit more than tweaking, okay? We need at least 2, we need to address, revamp that offensive line, especially our tackles. Get us a wide receiver. And I like the effort that Jerry Jeudy put forth today. I really, really do. And I think he can be your number 2. Okay. I say bring him back next year with the addition of, maybe if we can get Cardell Tate and then maybe another veteran out there. Okay. So get some help at the wide receiver. I love what our running backs look like today. Okay. Those guys ran the ball, man. They ran the ball. Yeah. Midas Quinshawn Junkins. Okay. So I like the effort out of our running backs. So again, revamp that offensive line, get us a wide receiver, give Shedeur a total off season to go into, next season as a starter with Watson and Dylan Gabriel behind him. I'm all for that. And as far as next week, I understand what you're saying. If we win, that drops us in the draft. I want to win. I want to win.
I want to win
okay?
too.
I want to win. So I'll put that aside as far as where we picking the draft, this and that. Go out and kick Cincinnati's rump next week. And, at the end of the season, hey, we will have won 5 games in a season that, again, that was dismal. And again, we're tired of losing, but I want to win. I don't believe in that, tanking or, hey, don't play as hard so we can be better in the draft. The heck of a draft. The draft is a gamble. It's a roll of the dice. You never know what you're going to get. Go on out there and win. Let's end this season on a winning note. That's my take.
And so for me, I think he's earned the right to come into a full training camp.
Yep.
First team reps, first team film study, all of that. Okay. You got to understand, and you guys do, and I want people to understand the obstacles that Shedeur Sanders had to hurdle. Okay. And he hurdled all of them with a class that, is to be commended of a young man who's 23 years old. I think he's galvanized the locker room. I think they believe in him. Myles Garrett sure does. Those guys believe in him, and it's not a fake belief. I think those guys in the locker room truly believe in him. And so you have to give him an opportunity to come out with a healthy Quinshawn Junkins, with a healthy Harold Fannin, with a revamped offensive line, with a legitimate number one and number two wide receivers. Give him that opportunity. Now, like I said, if he stinks up the joint, you have Deshaun Watson as
There
your
you go.
$80 million insurance
There you
policy
go.
where you can still win games. So, what do you have to lose? Because to me, if you bring in the young man from Oregon or if you bring in Mendoza,
It's not
it's
the
still
answer.
going to be 2 years
Yep.
before these guys even sniff any type of
Right. It's not
success.
the answer. Not the
Preach,
answer.
preach. Yep.
Okay. And so my thing is you have a young man that if you put the resources into him, I think he can be a top 10 quarterback. I said top 10. Now I know all my Shador haters are he's not top 10. Listen, if he gets a full off season where you're spending time with him, where he is in an offense that's going to move the football with an all-pro running back like a Junkins and these other guys that they got, that other Rocket Sanders. I don't even know why the Browns cut him and they kept Jerome Ford. That once again confirms that you got bad talent evaluation in that facility because Rocket Sanders is running the football. I mean, like an all-pro
Yeah.
behind this terrible offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of question a couple things. Number one, the offensive line is bad, but I need to go back and look at some of Quinshawn Junkins' runs because it might be a vision issue.
Right.
Okay, because Rocket Sanders is running behind the same offensive line. So, and I know Junkins, and to his credit, every time he got the football, he was hitting the backfield. So I'm not trying to dog him, but do I think Shador is the call for next year? Absolutely. I think you take your assets and you build a team around this young man and then let him go out. He's having his growing pains now with the 7 games. He's thrown 9 interceptions in 6 games. Okay, well, you go back and you look at him. These are things that he can fix. Everything that Shador does negatively can be
Can be
fixed.
fixed. Sure can.
Okay, so I'm like, give the guy an opportunity, and I'll touch on some of the criticism that he got from one Jason Lloyd later on in the show. But yeah, I think Shador is that guy.
When you look at Shador Sanders, man, I think, you can play the what if game, woulda, shoulda, coulda. If this guy would have had really a fair shake to start the season, where could he have been now in terms of his development is something that I always think about. But I think, Rod, you make a great point. All the adversity that this young man had to go through, just his journey to be where he is right now says a lot about his character, says a lot about his work ethic, says a lot about his leadership, and to be able to galvanize the locker room. I think a lot of the players that are on the inner circle that see this stuff every day sees the journey that he's had to go through. And I think it's really, really impressive if you're truly fair and neutral, regardless of whether you're a hater or whether you're pro Shador. His journey has just been extraordinary. Now, the X factor is this, fellas. Like, we don't know if Kevin Stefanski is going to be back next year. My guess is he probably will not. I've seen in some Cleveland Browns circles where people are like, there is a possibility that he could be back. Whatever. But if they bring in another coach, I think it's got to be someone that is not necessarily pro Shador, but somebody that is willing to work with the kid and develop the kid. And when you bring in a new coach, a new coaching staff, there is always that chance that they may want to go a different direction. And I think that the Cleveland Browns and their brass, they have to make sure that if they're going to ride with Shador, that whoever they bring in, if they hire a new coach, has got to be someone that's willing to invest some time in him.
And that's going to be the determining factor, okay? If they're going to roll with Shador, whether we keep Stefanski or hit the eject button or bring somebody else in, it's got to be somebody that's going to be in that kid's corner, okay? So that's where it comes down to the owner really, really making the best call with this thing. Up until, today, I wanted Stefanski gone. The last few weeks, I say, get him out of here. I want him gone. For some reason, hey,
don't do it,
based on what I saw today. What I saw today, I can kind of go either way. I really can. I can go either way. I can go either way. Last week at this time, get his tail out of here. Now, hey man, I'm stuck at a crossroad. If they were to, he meet Black Monday next week, hey, okay. Or if they keep him, I'm okay. I just want Shador to have an off season, build around him, and let's try this thing next year. But I'm kind of at a crossroads with Stefanski. I really am. And
Yeah,
I don't know where
and
that comes from.
and
I
I'm
am.
shocked. I'm absolutely shocked because I'm not
Yeah,
at
I
a
am.
crossroads. I gave him his flowers,
Yeah.
but I don't think that he's done enough to
Yeah.
get the opportunity to. I mean, me and Lionel, we've been talking. I mean, we've talked about it. He's lost the locker room.
Yeah.
So you can't respectfully bring him back with a group of guys that don't believe in him. Okay. So now to me, we've talked about the coaching aspect of who to get the head coach. I'm going to talk about the offensive coordinator. The best offensive coordinator that you can bring to help Shador Sanders out is his former offensive coordinator in Colorado, Pat Shermer.
That's not a
Yeah.
bad former Cleveland Brown head
Cleveland coach.
coach.
Yeah.
Former coach. Yeah. Former
You
coach.
can bring Pat Shermer, and Pat Shermer can construct the offense. And what is he going to do? He's going to construct that offense because he knows what Shador can do, and he knows what he needs to be better at. So I also said if Stefanski is gone, I know people had talked about, well, if you get rid of Stefanski, then
Let
you need
Schwartz
to get rid
run
of
it.
Andrew Berry. I don't think Berry's going to be gone. I think Berry is going to replace Paul DePodesta. I
Agreed.
think he's going to stay within the organization. Okay. And he'll have the say on who the next GM is and who the next coach is. I think Stefanski is gone. I think Bubba Ventrone is gone. I think they're going to offer Jim Schwartz the opportunity
Now, I'm good
to
with that.
interview
I'm good with
for the
that.
head coaching position.
I'm good
I
with
think
that.
they're going to offer that to him because you got the number one ranked defense, pass defense in the NFL, number two ranked overall defense. Tony Romo said it today. It's a good defense.
It is.
We just couldn't score points. Okay. But when you look at the last games that Shador's played, we've been over 20 points except for today. Okay. But like I said, if you surround this young man with the right weapons, he's going to be just fine. But I don't know if you had that Christmas eggnog, brother. You better stop. We ain't bringing Kevin Stefanski back. I don't know what Kool-Aid you've
Yeah.
been sipping on, but it
I
done
hear
got
you.
you messed up.
Yeah, I
He
hear
ain't
you.
coming back.
Hear you. And again, I'm good with Schwartzy. I'm good with Schwartzy. And I would love to have Pat Shermer come back. I really would. I'd love for him to come back and be the offensive coordinator because he's genius. He's genius, So yeah. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. I
Hey,
want
I
to
man.
heard
win
it,
next
America.
week. Yeah. I want to win next week.
You heard T said he wants Stefanski back. Send all your emails to the captain.
Yeah. That's good. Hey, I think that is going to be the smoke of the week. There's going to be a lot of smoke for that one. We ain't seen smoke like that since we heard the word poor man's Seth Curry.
Curry. Oh man, I tell
Oh,
you. I
man.
tell you. I tell you.
Cleveland Browns pull out the win today. 15-6 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to sprinkle in a little Buckeyes play on New Year's Eve. The big story coming out of Columbus was that Ryan Day is now going to take over the play call. And fellas, any concern about that? Whenever you have someone that gives up the play calling and then gets it back, kind of like Kevin Stefanski, you always have to say, well, you gave up play calling for a reason.
Yeah.
Do you like the change right before the playoffs? I know it was something that probably needed to happen, with Hartline having another job, kind of being distracted. But do you like the move right now for the Ohio State Buckeyes?
I don't like the timing, okay, because it's too close to, it's too close to game time. And that Miami defense is nothing to play with.
Nope.
They're nothing to play with. So again, and like we were talking, before the show, stick with what got you here. Stick with what got you here. Don't change up now. Yeah, don't change up now. It happens all the time in baseball. You see it all the time in baseball. What gets you to the playoffs, and then managers want to start tweaking this and tweaking that and changing this up, and going with the analytics and this and that. It's all about right now. Getting back to the Buckeyes, it's the timing that concerns me. Okay, it's all about the timing, and again, that Miami defense is nothing to play with. So I hope they know what they're doing. I really, really do. But it's concerning because again, like I say, it's all about the timing. What you say, Rob?
Well, I look at it as Ryan Day had no choice because I think he looked at the film against Indiana, and I think he noticed
Yeah.
that Brian Hartline was not on his game.
Yep.
And so at that juncture, he had to make a conscious decision, because at the end of the day, if the Buckeyes don't win the national championship, it's not going to fall on Brian Hartline. It's going to fall on Ryan Day.
True.
So
Really?
Ryan Day, being a
Yeah, it
former
will.
offensive coordinator,
It will. It
yeah,
will. Yeah.
but being a former offensive coordinator, that was self-preservation.
Yeah.
So if he was that distracted, then he's like, okay, I'll take over. Plus, like I think I've texted you guys this week also and let y'all know he was recruiting Jeremiah Smith's little brother
Yeah.
to
I
come
heard that.
play at UCF while he was trying to get everything together for the Buckeyes. Major violation.
That's a
Get out
no-no.
of here with that.
Yeah.
That's a no-no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Jeremiah Smith's brother's not even a wide receiver. He's a safety. Okay. But it was just a point that you're recruiting guys who have committed to Ohio State to try to come to UCF. And so he just told Brian Hartline, hey, look, I got this. Go ahead and get yourself together and do that. Do I have the utmost confidence in Ryan Day? I do.
I do too.
I've seen Ryan Day call
I do
offense
too.
at Ohio State. And I'm confident that he'll do that. I'm confident he understands his weapon. He understands what Julian Sain can do and what he can't do. He understands Jeremiah Smith is a mismatch on anybody. And he understands he's got the sleepy first round pick in Carnell Tate. He's got weapons.
But I'm
Plus,
concerned
Max
of him
Clare
having
at
a
the
bad
tight
day,
end
Rod.
position.
I'm concerned of him having a bad day on that day.
Every coach is gonna have one. Like I said, look at what Brian Hartline did against Indiana. Because I believe if the Buckeyes meet Indiana again, it's not gonna look the same. Okay, and so with that Matt Patricia defense, it's not gonna look the same. So I'm willing to give Ryan Day a shot at this. Worst case scenario, they get eliminated. It's on him. But I understand from a coach's aspect, when you have a distracted coach, that doesn't bode well for your football team. You've got to look out for your football team. And because Brian Hartline had already accepted the job, he got to recruit. And that's why they're trying to change the rules in terms of interviewing coaches
Yeah, they need
during the
during
season.
the playoffs. Yeah,
Okay, during the
playoffs come
playoffs.
too.
They're gonna look at that.
They need to.
Because my thing is, if they really like Brian Hartline, they could have waited.
Yeah, that's
Okay?
tampering if you
They're
ask
gonna
me. It's
change some
tampering.
things. But I don't fault Ryan Day for telling Brian Hartline, hey, I got this. You go ahead and go ahead. I don't.
Yeah. I think with that transfer portal, man, I can't remember what the deadline is or the opening day is for the transfer portal, but I think that is always going to push to get a head coach in there, within the timeline, and it conflicts with like all of the bowl games and the college football playoffs. Like these institutions want to have their coach in place so they can, especially a school like where Brian Hartline is going. I mean, those guys rely on getting guys from other places. So you want to have that coach in place so you can, really take advantage of the transfer portal. Here's my thing with Ryan Day. Ryan Day is an offensive guru. And he was touted as that when he was brought in to Ohio State. In terms of X's and O's, I'm not worried. Like, I have no problem, no concerns about Ryan Day being able to do that in this game. My only thing about Ryan Day is I have a really, really good memory. My thing about Ryan Day is that when it comes to these big games, fellas, sometimes Ryan Day can outthink himself. Sometimes there are times where you expect a certain Buckeye team to show up, and maybe they've been this way for the whole season, and then this one game when it's nut cutting time, where you just have asinine plays.
Like I say, that bad day. That bad day.
Yeah. You've really seen that in games where they've played the team from up north, and he took so much criticism for that he had to give up the play calling to a guy like Chip Kelly and now Brian Hartline. So I just hope that Ryan Day just relaxes, take a deep breath, understand the girl that got you to the dance, and play call in those situations. Don't outthink this stuff. Don't try to think too far out the box. Just be who you are, and that is good enough to beat Miami. That's what I'm wishing for Ryan Day. Fellas, I listen, man, I wanted to talk. I was chatting back and forth with you guys. I wanted to talk about some stories from 2025, being that this is the last 3 The Hard Way show for the year. First of all, I would like to thank you fellas for collaborating with me on this. You guys were part of my wish list to start Three the Hard Way. And the fact that we've gone through a whole year of this is our last show for the year, man. It's just been an incredible journey with you guys, man. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for the
Yeah.
opportunity. And I'm going to save it for my parting shot. So, yeah, I'm going to
All
say
right.
what I got to say for my parting shot.
It's been fun for me. It got me off the couch talking Cleveland Browns stuff, talking Cleveland stuff. Yeah. Oh no. The pleasure is all mine, L and Cap. It's all mine.
Hey, so this is kind of going to be rapid fire, man. Some of the most significant stories from 2025. Some of them you may have forgotten. Some of them you probably still have in your brain somewhere. But I'm going to start with, fellas, the Oklahoma City Thunder is now being considered the next NBA dynasty, winning the championship this past summer. Did you ever see that coming from Oklahoma City?
I didn't see it coming, and I remember last year in the playoffs, I said I didn't want to see it coming because they haven't paid their dues yet, okay? It takes a while to, I mean, look at all those years it took for us to get over that hurdle, and I thought those guys were, too early to the party, too young. But, they were talking about it a couple weeks ago on the Odd Couple podcast about how it's just boring. When you watch them play, it's like them against the Washington Generals. When you watch them play other teams, I mean, it's boring because they're just blowing teams out. Okay. Now, San Antonio, so far seems to kind of have their number, but can San Antonio beat them in April where it really counts 4 out of 7? I don't think so. But getting back to, the question at hand, no, I did not see that coming, but this is a good team. They're a really, really good team. And I don't think they're really, really firing on all cylinders yet.
No,
I don't think they're firing on all cylinders. So right now, watching them is boring because they just beat the crap out of everybody except for San Antonio, But again, like I say, now being a small market team, sort of like us, Cleveland, I'm okay with that, because people like to say you need New York to win, you need LA to win, you need Miami to win. Now the heck with those teams, I like the small guy. I like the small market because our team is sort of, small market, although we've had big time players, but we're small market. So from that aspect, I'm good with it. Okay. I'm good with it. But no, I didn't see this coming. I didn't. And like I say, it's just boring to watch. They're not a team that I care for watching because they just beat the crap out of the other team, Yep.
So I'm going to tell you, I did see this coming.
Did
the
you
reason
really?
I saw this coming is when James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant were together. The key factor with Oklahoma City was the general manager by the name of Sam Presti. So when Sam Presti cleared out the locker room and traded all 3 of those guys and Serge Ibaka and Kendrick Perkins and all those guys on that team, he got a plethora of picks, and he used those picks. He went and got SGA. He got Lou Dort. He constructed that team. Here's the crazy part about Oklahoma City. They still have a plethora of first-round picks from
Yes,
all
sir.
of these trades
Yeah, they do.
Yes,
They do.
sir.
that Sam Presti put together. So do I see OKC making a run? A Golden State run? Absolutely. Absolutely. However, could that kryptonite be the San Antonio Spurs?
Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Because Chet Holmgren's kryptonite is Wembanyama. He can't defend him.
Right.
And Wembanyama knows
Nobody
that.
can really. Who can?
Now-
I haven't seen anybody defend Wemby yet.
So San Antonio has a good core. And remember, even though the old man ain't on the bench, he's still in the organization. And Popovich pulls some strings. Okay. So, but do I see Oklahoma City making that run? Yeah, because I don't see, other than San Antonio and maybe Houston, I don't see anybody in the Western Conference that could run with them. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think Hot Rod, I think you make a good point when you talk about all the assets they got for Westbrook and Harden and Durant. Like, I saw them being really good in this, really in the future. It's hard to predict dynasties. Dynasties are so dominant and anything can happen. I didn't see the Oklahoma City, and they're not a dynasty yet. I think a lot of
No, not
people
yet.
are prognosticating that they will be a dynasty. And right now, looking at them, I can't argue with that. But as Hot Rod always says, T, en contraire, mon frere, I think, listen, I think the X factor in whether or not they are going to be a dynasty is where Giannis Antetokounmpo goes after the Milwaukee Bucks, because I think that's a foregone conclusion. He in the next NBA year, he is going to be somewhere different other than Milwaukee, and depending on where he goes, could put a monkey wrench
True.
in what OKC
That's true.
thinks is a run to
That's
being
true.
a dynasty.
That's
Now
true.
he could be traded to the East, and that helps. But if he's traded somewhere in the Western Conference, I think that throws a monkey wrench in what OKC could do. But who
It sure
knows
does.
if
It sure
that's going to
does.
happen, how soon that's going to happen. But
Right.
keep your eye on that, and keep your eye on Ja Morant too, because I think he's going to be out of Memphis where he ends up.
Yeah.
Where he
Yeah.
ends up. Next significant story, fellas. Did you ever think that the end of talk about dynasties, the Kansas City Chiefs, their dynasty right now is pretty much over?
Yeah, it is. It is. And being a Browns fan, and I remember, that COVID year, that COVID playoff,
Yeah.
when we came close to getting those guys, okay? We came close to getting them, and I've really, really disliked that team. I ain't gonna use the word hate, but sports hate. I've, hated them ever since then. I do not like I do not like the Chiefs, okay? Andy Reid, their coach, and Travis Kelce, because he's from Cleveland, and the running back,
Yep.
Other than that, I really, really hate that team. So I'm glad that they're no longer a factor. Although I like the player, their quarterback the other night. I had never heard of that kid. I watched him play the other night, and he did a pretty good job, even though, they came up short against Denver. But yeah, I'm glad to see that dynasty go. Like I say, good and riddance of them. Patrick Mahomes, yeah, future Hall of Famer. Again, like I say, we were close that COVID year playing in an empty stadium up against that team. And then, next year I thought we would come back and battle, but we all know, how that ended. But yeah, I'm okay with them no longer being that dynasty. I sports hate that team. Bye Kansas City. See you later. Hit the road, Jack. Yep.
And as for me, everything in sports is cyclical. It
Yeah.
goes in cycles. So, you had the Kansas City Chiefs go on this run, and it was a good run. But all runs come to an end, because now you don't have the type of pieces and parts around Patrick Mahomes
Right.
that you had during these Super Bowl years. I think Travis Kelce is finished. I think he's getting ready to go ahead and bow out.
Yep.
Be Miss Swift. Be
You
Mr.
know,
Mr.
yeah,
Mrs.
I
There you
think
go. There you go.
he's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
go
That's what he's
ahead and
about to
bow
be.
out. So, I'm not surprised that this taking place. I think in the AFC, this could be Buffalo's time. Even, because the only reason that Josh Allen could not get to the Super Bowl was because of the Kansas City Chiefs. And so now you got Mahomes is out, Joe Burrow out. So now you got to deal with either Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers. And there may be more. You got the Texans. It might be a couple more, but I don't think you'll see Kansas City in the playoff race, but I'm not seeing Kansas City winning the AFC. Not anymore. I don't see that. I think the next group coming up is probably going to be the Buffalo Bills.
Well,
Probably.
Buffalo's a
Okay.
little questionable, Rod, because they just lost, and I don't know. You know what? You said at the beginning of the season something about that team from the 4-1-2, meaning the Steelers. Okay. Now again, I don't see the Steelers beating the Ravens next week based on how the Ravens looked last night. However, if they do, that's the scary team in the AFC for me. The Steelers. It really is, because Watt should be back. They'll have their wide receiver back, and you just needed 1 year out of Aaron Rodgers, okay? So that's a scary, sleepy team for me if they win next week, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Buffalo, I don't think Buffalo is, there's something missing there. There's something missing.
But here,
Go ahead. No, you're good. Go ahead.
I think the thing for me, Cap, is Josh Allen is still relatively young. He's got a good young running back.
Yep.
He's got a good tight end core, good receiving core. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to see that this is advantageous to build around. They already got a premier defense to build around Josh Allen. The reason I'm not, and I called the Pittsburgh Steelers out, but there is dysfunction in the land of Lilliput. Something is not right in Pittsburgh. And we got to understand something ain't right. They got Rodgers on a rental. Rodgers is not coming back. So now who are you gonna have at quarterback? Mason Graham? Do you have not Mason Graham, but do you have
Duck Hodges, or I don't know
yeah,
who they
or
got.
Will Howard? Do
Yeah.
you have those, or do you go back into the draft and get you a quarterback? So they got some questions. So that's why I'm like, Buffalo is set
Okay.
to make that run. But to
Okay.
answer the question, I'm not surprised when it comes to Kansas City.
Keep your eyes, fellas, on the Houston Texans. They're flying under the radar, man.
Yeah.
They've got a pretty good quarterback there, an insane defense,
Yeah.
good coaching. Like, nobody's really talking about them. They're just
They're not.
sneakily getting better and better and better each week, man. So keep an eye out for them. Another significant story, 2025, fellas, is the whole college football scene, man. It's getting crazier. The playoffs. The playoffs have expanded, and yet there's still controversy. You've got Louisiana's governor inserting himself into the coaching search for LSU. You got Notre Dame taking their ball and going home. They don't want to play.
They didn't play in the Pop-Tart Bowl this weekend. They didn't play. They said, forget the Pop-Tart Bowl.
I ain't playing in that. And then you have arguably the GOAT of the NFL and Bill Belichick falling on his face at North Carolina. And then you have the whole scandal with that team up north, man. Has college football ever been any more crazy than it's been this year?
It sure has been. And I wanted to just touch on real quick, since you mentioned college football. They got the kid from Utah, not the kid, the coach, Kyle Whittingham, okay? Yep. The team up north got Kyle Whittingham, and what that means is, hey, we're clearing house. We're getting back to basics, okay? We're going to bring an adult in the room. We're not going to have somebody that's going to be on the OnlyFans page, every 5 or 6 minutes. We're bringing an adult in the room, okay? That's what we're doing. And he's just there for what? I think they signed him for 5 years. Just get the train, just to get the train back on the track, okay?
Yep.
And this guy, he's going to bring discipline. He's 177 and 88. So he's a winner, okay? And he's a disciplinarian. He's old school. He's a guy that'll get there at 3 in the morning and be there till 8 or 9 at night, okay? So he's saying we need to clean house up here in Michigan. Somebody on the radio say he's their version of giving the Michigan program an enema. He's cleaning house. He's bringing order and discipline back into the building. That's what he's doing, okay? So I'm a little concerned as a Buckeye fan, the next couple seasons, because this guy is a no-nonsense guy. He's if it was college basketball, this is, Dean Smith. This is John Thompson, at Georgetown, okay? This is what they brought in as an adult, a disciplinarian to get them back on track, okay? Shamar Moore, he messed it up, for any other young guys coming in taking these jobs. He really, really messed it up. They're bringing an old head in to, right the ship. So that's what they did. But yeah, college football has, this year, it's been, crazy, just to say the least. It has been.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you talking about the team up north. Of course, no matter yes, it is a clearing out process. Of course, you'll see some kids hit the transfer portal.
Yeah,
but you got to bring some respectability back, because
that's what they did.
By what happened, the scandal happened. Now, and it's been like that for the past couple of years, even when Harbaugh was there.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to clean the program out,
change the culture.
And I believe he's going to do that. But also, you're judged on how you play Ohio State. So that's going to be a thing. When it comes to college football, we all know it's a money grab.
Yeah.
So you're going to have problems because the haves are going to have more than the have-nots. And then the have-nots are going to have a problem with what the haves have. So it's like, like there are a couple teams, we talked about this last week, there are a couple teams that was in the playoff that probably shouldn't have been there. Okay? But in the majority, I think they got it right. So, I think unless they go to, of course, an NFL style playoff, which I don't think they'll do that. Also with teams jumping conferences, that's also caused some issues. You got one team that's in the SEC. They decide to go to the Big Ten. The Big Ten is not even a Big Ten anymore. It's like 15 teams in the Big Ten. So that just sounds goofy.
Right.
Calling it the Big Ten.
Right.
Because you got all these teams. USC is in the Big Ten.
From West Coast to East Coast.
Right. So
Yep.
they're I know they were trying to create parity, but they actually created confusion.
Yeah. Yep. And Notre Dame, you may want to get out of the ACC. You may want to get out of there. Yeah, Notre Dame. Yep.
Yeah. When you look at that team up north, I think it was a good hire. It was, in my opinion, fellas, I think it was a safe hire. The one thing when I look at college athletics in terms of hiring and firing of coaches, I think like the University of Michigan, where they are missing the boat is, can this guy come in? Obviously, like the Cap said, this is essentially an enema for the program. But I think you have to worry about recruiting as well. And I think this is the mistake. I think a lot of these athletic directors and their board of regents, they look at guys in terms of wins and losses and X's and O's at their previous college, like Utah. Michigan is a different animal. The level of recruiting that you have to be able to do at that school to sustain a standard is grueling. Like, did he have to deal with all of the NIL stuff like he's going to have to deal with at Michigan? Did he have to deal with that at Utah? I don't think so. And a lot of recruiting is pipeline and relationships. Does he have the type of relationships that can transfer those type of recruits to Michigan? That is what ADs usually miss. You saw it in basketball. One of my favorite coaches is Shaka Smart. Remember when he had VCU rolling and he catapulted that into the Texas job? Well, that's a whole different level of recruiting in Texas. That really didn't work out. And now he's gone back to a smaller school in Marquette, and he's starting to do his same thing. So it's all about relationships. It's all about your pipeline. Can you navigate this whole new NIL deal? Yeah. That remains to be seen. I know he's going to be a good X's and O's coach. I know he's going to be a good culture coach. But it remains to be seen if he can be that guy to navigate all the stuff that Michigan needs to navigate, man. It's going to be a trust ride.
And L-Train, that's where putting together the right staff comes into play, okay? Putting together the right staff, people that can do those things. How would I put it? Him as a leader selecting, the best and having those people that can go out and do that stuff. Because you're right. It's a big difference between Utah and Michigan. A whole big difference.
Yep. The whole streaming thing, fellas, in 2025, man, is just insane. You got games on Amazon. You got games on Peacock.
I had to set up a new password for Peacock last night. I had to set up a new password, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. ESPN and then Netflix. Did you ever see a time, and I think it's going to get worse, fellas. I think any big event now in the next 5 years is going to be streamed.
Sooner than that.
Are going to have to pay for it. Oh, man, it's crazy. Did you ever expect to see this from streaming channels and networks to have all of these major sports events on their app?
I didn't see that because, again, we come from the days of watching Muhammad Ali on ABC Wide World of Sports on Saturday afternoon. Again, growing up, we had ABC, NBC, CBS, Channel 43, and Channel 61 in Cleveland, okay? Now, like I say, last night, just to find the game, the Ravens game, I thought I had Peacock. I got it on my upstairs TVs, didn't have it on my downstairs TV. So I had to, set up a whole new password.
Right.
Yeah, it's painstaking, man. It's painstaking. So I don't like where it's going. What was it on Christmas Day? We finally saw Chuck, Kenny, and Shaq, and Ernie, that crew. What happened to them? I talked about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's becoming to, be painful. But one thing about me now, again, and this goes back to my Navy days, I don't mind listening to the sports on the radio, okay? I don't mind listening to it on the radio. And now, by use of XM radio on my phone. So I can see going forward, I'll get back into listening to games, which I have no problem with doing. But, I didn't see it coming to this, but it's all about the dollar bill. It's all about the dollar bill, unfortunately.
Pretty much.
That's what it's.
Yep.
For me, I'm an NBA fan. I'm a NFL fan. I'm also a quiet wrestling fan, professional wrestling. I do it, and this streaming stuff has just gotten ridiculous. Like, I can't find the stuff that I want to find, because just like y'all are saying, it's on Peacock or it's not on TNT anymore. Seeing Chuck and Shaq and Kenny and Ernie on ESPN. It's just like a bizarro world. It's weird.
Yeah, yeah, it
I don't
is.
like it. Okay. And I know sometimes people don't like change, but it just seems weird. Watching NBA basketball on Peacock, listening to Doc Rivers' son. It's just weird.
It's not
Okay.
the same.
And so no, it's going to get worse, y'all. It's going to get worse. I mean, everybody want a piece of the pie. Netflix
Yep,
wants a piece of it,
yep.
Amazon, the whole nine. And so it's like, whatever happened to Channel 3, Channel 5, 8,
Channel 8.
Going away.
43,
It's 61.
19?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Channel
Yep.
61,
That's it.
and I miss those days where I knew the NBA was going to be on NBC. All right,
Yeah.
that's Channel 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew, ABC's Wide World of Sports going to be on Channel 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's gotten
Them days are
crazy.
no more.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gotten crazy.
Yeah, I'm accepting of change, man. I don't like the change, but if I have to roll with the flow, I'll do it. But just make sure that whatever app or resources that you have set up, that it works. Some of these apps are so glitchy, and not all of these apps are on, the TV that you purchase. So now you got to go out and got to get come on, man. I mean that is just too much. Like for
Painstaking.
it is painstaking, man. Just make sure that the stuff works. But I agree with you, Hot Rod. I think it's going to get worse, man.
It is. It is. Yeah.
I think it's going to get worse.
Unfortunately.
Yep. Remember, fellas, a few months ago when ESPN Shams tweeted out that the Dallas Mavericks had traded Luka Doncic? Like, it was the first time a guy of that caliber had ever been traded like midseason like that to the Lakers. Significant sports story of 2025. What's your thought?
Yeah. That was. And fast forward to where it is now because Luca's going to be part of my boot camp, okay? Yeah, he's going to be part of boot camp. So I don't want to give away the whole story. I don't want to give it the whole story. And then it looks like Anthony Davis is hurt again. Looks like he's hurt again. So man, I tell you, only time will tell, who got the better end of that deal, but nobody saw that coming. But I think the Mavericks organization said, hey, we don't want to invest any more money in Luka. This guy doesn't train hard, doesn't work hard in the off season. He's not top conditioning. I think they just lost faith in him, and that's why they did that. Okay, they lost faith in him. They said, hey, what we're seeing right now, we're not going to get it any better. Okay. Now, at the beginning of this season, Luka showed up to camp in great shape. He's chiseled. Okay. But I'll save the rest of it for my boot camp. Okay. But again, I think that organization, they just gave up on him. They did. They didn't have any faith in him, any trust him. They didn't trust him.
Hey, real quick before Hot Rod goes, I am going to duck out really quick. I'm having some issues with my camera. You guys
Gotcha.
continue to talk about this. I will be right back.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Rod.
All right. So when it comes to, the trade or what have you, it was the most significant trade in a long time. Um, when it comes to, because first of all, when it came across my screen, I thought it was a joke, because at the time you had Dirk Nowitzki was on his way out the door. He was going out, and they knew that Luka was going to be the second coming. Yeah, he was coming in. And so when they traded Luka to LA, it was strange to me. I didn't believe it. I thought that literally, um, that it was a joke. And then when I got on ESPN, saw Wojnarowski, Shams Charania, when they started saying no, he was traded for Anthony Davis and then flip it over to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was a championship, won championships with the Lakers, and then all of a sudden the Lakers just popped up and said, okay, well, you gotta go. I'm thinking of from an Anthony Davis standpoint, and even today, right now, you got AD where they're talking about trading him again. That Dallas is talking about getting rid of him. But when it came to Luka, that was an absolute stunner. That was a stunner when it comes to NBA trades. I hadn't seen that in a minute.
Do you think they lost faith in him? Like I think they lost faith in him. They he wasn't somebody that worked hard in the off season, okay? That put the time and the effort in. He was, wasn't in the best of shape. I think they say, hey, this is the most that we're going to get out of this guy. Let's go ahead and cut bait with him. Do you see that? Did that happen?
I think what happened with Luka is that when the team was sold, when Mark Cuban sold the team, they had already come to the conclusion that they were going to get rid of Luka. The reason that they did not get rid of Luka at the time is because that was Mark Cuban's boy.
He would have never allowed that, right?
No, never.
Mark Cuban,
never.
Right.
Yeah, Mark Cuban even said that he was willing, before he sold the team, he was willing to pay Luka what he wanted. But because he sold the team and became the minority owner, they never talked to him. He didn't know Luka was getting traded. Okay. And so, do I think they gave up on him? No, I didn't think that. I don't think that there were people in the organization that believed in him in the first place. When you look at, there's a telling film when after they, I don't know, it was a playoff game or something of that nature, where Luka was drinking a beverage,
and they took that beer out of his hand. They took the beer out of his hand.
Took the beer out of his hand. Walked by and took the beverage out of his hand.
Out of his hand.
That was telling.
Very telling.
So I don't think they believed in Luka. I think Luka was protected by Mark Cuban.
Yeah, I think when you have an opportunity, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, to have a special player, you try to work out whatever kinks you have to work out to keep that player in your organization, man. I just think that is paramount for organizations. I think that's what they have to do. I think organizations give up on players like that are special way too quickly, but a very unique situation for the Dallas Mavericks. My last 2025 most significant sports story, and I think, T, you will like this one because you are a baseball guy. Many people are calling the 2025 World Series the best World Series ever. What are your thoughts, man?
It was Game 7. It went 13 innings. It was something. It was action-packed. How would I put it? It was, as a Guardians fan, I wish we could have, been a part of that, but our time is coming. We're not quite there yet. But when you talk about baseball, when you talk about this last World Series, the most significant game, L Train and Rod, was Game 4 in the NLCS, where the Dodgers beat the Brewers 5-1. Now, what was so significant about that game is that Shohei Ohtani hit 3 home runs in that game. He also pitched. He pitched 6 innings and struck out 10. Hit 3 home runs at the plate and then pitched 10 innings. Pitched 6 innings and struck out 10 in the 5-1, win over the Brewers. That was a performance beyond, man. That guy, Shohei Ohtani, I tell you, man, it's something. We didn't see Babe Ruth play. We didn't.
Nope.
None of us saw him play. We heard about him, but also to add to that, though, when you talk about the history of baseball, I often say too, if the players in the Negro leagues were allowed to play amongst those guys, man, they would have to rewrite history.
Yes, sir.
Because there were some guys that played in the Negro leagues that were out of this world. There's one guy who played in the Negro leagues who lives in this area by the name of Sam Allen. Google him, okay? He played in the Negro leagues. I had him in my bookstore a year ago talking baseball. It was awesome, man. It was awesome because he talks about just the talent that not only came from this area here in Virginia and the West Virginia leagues, but all over the place where he played, he just talked about how great those guys were. They ate bad food. They had to sleep on those old broken down buses. They traveled from town to town. The pitchers would pitch the whole game, and they would tear teams up, okay? So when you talk about baseball all together, had they been able to play, it'd have been a whole nother story. But again, I go back to that game 4, okay, against the Brewers with Shohei again. 3 home runs, pitched 6 innings, and struck out 10. That's awesome, So, but yeah, this last year's World Series was, because the last best World Series was ours in '97 when we lost in Game 7 to the Marlins. That was a hell of a World Series too, our tribe.
Yep.
But
yep.
yeah, baseball, that was significant, and that Shohei Ohtani, he's something else, man. He's something else.
Yeah, it's great that you talk about the Negro Leagues.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
about Josh Gibson,
Mhm.
who, if they would transfer Josh Gibson's numbers over, he hit more home runs than Babe Ruth.
Right.
When you talk about Satchel Paige in his
Yeah.
heyday,
Yeah.
Satchel Paige would have been a multiple Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah.
You just
Cool
when
Papa
you talk
Bell.
about that, yeah. Now when Jackie Robinson said very eloquently when he was alive that he wasn't the best athlete in the Negro Leagues.
Right.
And
He was right.
But when it comes to the World Series, I was very impressed with this World Series.
Mhm.
Shohei Ohtani is a stud. I mean, no, we didn't see Babe Ruth. But we're seeing Babe Ruth reincarnated because this young man can do it all.
Yeah, he
He's
can.
pitching, hitting, stealing bases. He can play the outfield. I mean, it's so many different things.
He's
But
something.
I do give credit to the MLB. They're starting to bring some fan interest back.
Yeah.
Like I said, with Ohtani, doing his thing. And so I'm looking forward to our Guardians. I'm hoping that once I think after this year, the Dolans are going to sell the Guardians. And so then, I believe if they pour some money into the Guardians, I think they will be there and we'll stop being a farm team. But I love the World Series. I loved it.
Great season of sports for 2025, man. Lots of memories. I'm sure there are some other things out there that we missed and could talk about, but it's too many to name. So, but if I had to look back on 2025, what a great sports season. The only thing that could have made it better is if our Guardians would have won the World Series, the Cavs would have won the championship, and the Browns would have won the Super Bowl. That's the only thing that could have made the 2025 sports season a little bit better. But as always, there are always some good things to talk about, and there's always some bad things that we need to talk about. We got guys and gals out there that need a little bit of rehab, and when we need rehab, who do we call? We call the Cap, and we need to put them in the boot camp.
That's
so,
it.
Cap, you got your boot camp coming up, man. Who do you have in your boot camp?
I got 3 people from the same organization, from the LA Lakers. JJ Redick, the coach, Luka, and LeBron. Show up to boot camp with your dog tags, haircut, shine boots, okay? Did you see that performance on Christmas Day by the Lakers? It was atrocious. Yeah, it was atrocious. Let me say, the Lakers' last 3 games, they've given up 103 points to the Clippers, 132 points to the Suns, and 119 to the Rockets. They don't play defense, man. They don't play defense, okay? Luka doesn't play defense, LeBron doesn't play defense, and JJ Redick doesn't call him out, okay? He doesn't call him out. Now, when he was a analyst on ESPN a couple years ago, he called Doc Rivers out. He called out all these coaches about what they shouldn't be doing, this and that, this and that, this and that. Now you're the coach, and you're letting these guys gas on defense, okay? The other day in that game, LeBron argued a call. He didn't even come down the court, okay? He didn't even come down the court. He down there arguing with the referee. L-Train, if one of your girls did that in the game, I'm sure you would blow the whistle timeout and put her butt on the bench, okay?
Absolutely.
But again, JJ let, LeBron get away with that. Hey, they just don't play any defense. Now, granted, I'll give LeBron a little pass. He's 4,000 years old. We get it. But still, it's all about effort in basketball. It's all about effort. And you got guys on that bench that'll give you effort. Marcus Smart, Jared Vanderbilt. Heck, even Bronny will give you, some energy. JJ, he's just not cutting the mustard, man. And like I say, when he was on ESPN, he ripped all those coaches about what they shouldn't be doing. And he's allowing Luka and LeBron, and
Yeah.
even, Reeves to get away with that. Now, Reeves is injured, so he's going to be out for the next 3 or 4 weeks. He just needs to do something with that lineup because those guys just don't play any defense, and, they lack effort. So I'm calling the 3 of them to show up for boot camp and get in shape and get ready to give your team some energy and play harder, okay? So JJ is the coach, and LeBron and Luka. Those are my 3 for boot camp this week. Those are my 3.
Tease boot
Boot
camp.
Those
That's what I'm
3.
saying. With New Year's coming up, there's going to be lots of people that have their New Year's resolutions. A lot of that comes with physical stuff, losing weight, eating right, not drinking as much. Well, the first thing you have to do is have some two-a-days, man. When you want the physical stuff, we got to turn to Hot Rod. You see the whistle. Who does Hot Rod have in his two-a-day?
I as well have 2 teammates from the same unit that are coming in for 2-a-days. Number 1, Evan Mobley.
Ooh.
Evan Mobley needs to come suit up, have 2-a-days, because Evan Mobley has been missing. Okay. I think I saw him down there at Mr. Heroes down there on Warrensville Center. He was down there getting him a cheesesteak and a Roman burger. So if you see Evan Mobley, please let him know that he must report to 2-a-days.
Get there, set your alarm.
Yes, and so we can get some workout in, so we can teach him how to work in the post because he's afraid of post work. All right. Next is Jared Allen. Jared Allen is needed 2-a-days. Okay. Jared Allen was out rebounded in the New York Knicks game with Mitchell Robinson very badly, and although nice guys finished last, if you come to my 2-a-days, you won't be a nice guy anymore. So I think I saw Jared Allen in front of the high school, in front of Warrensville Heights. I think Donald Jolly was working with him, but I wanted to make sure if you saw him, just let him know that once he's done with Coach Jolly, that he needs to come to 2-a-days.
Yeah.
I do have an honorable mention for
All
2-a-days.
right, give it to us. Give it to us.
Okay. And he is also from the Cleveland Cavaliers. His name is Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
The reason that I emphasize the O is because that's how much he scores when he's out there on the floor. Oh, Lonzo. This dude can't hit the broadside of a barn.
He can't.
Okay?
He can't.
I've seen Lonzo Ball dribble drive to the basket and throw out. Look, if you can't score, young man, you might end up being at a 3-a-day so that we can go ahead and start working on your shooting form. So, yes, Lonzo Ball, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen, you are now summoned to 2-a-days.
2-a-days. Wow.
Rods,
Wow.
2-a-days. Now listen, Hot Rod. Be careful, because Ball's dad will come get you, man.
He'll come get you.
Hey,
He'll bring the smoke, too.
He'll
bring the smoke. He'll bring the smoke.
Here's the thing. I welcome that because I guarantee you, if he truly watches his son and he's honest with his son,
Yeah, he's saying
he
the same thing.
knows that he can't shoot right now.
Yeah.
So if LeVar Ball wants to come at me, come on, because I'm for all the smoke. I'm going to bring you statistics.
Y'all remember when Jason Kidd couldn't shoot that well? I hope Lonzo Ball improves. Yeah, there was a time when Jay Kidd couldn't shoot. He couldn't shoot.
But guess what? Jay Kidd is in the top 5 of 3-point percentage.
Yeah,
that's right.
He got better. He improved.
You got to work on it.
Yeah.
Hot Rods, 2-a-days. We got the rehab with the cap. We got the physical stuff. I'm just looking for people that used to be here that are not here anymore. So I got some APBs that I need to put out for some people. It's amazing that, when you go through a season that's long enough, you can have different periods of the season where people are there and people don't show up. God, have you seen the Indianapolis Colts lately? Remember when the Indianapolis Colts was the hottest team in the NFL? A rehab Daniel Jones just coming from the Vikings. Now he's popped his Achilles. Indiana, you would have thought for sure that they would have been in the playoffs. Where is the Colts? If you've seen the Indianapolis Colts, call me 1-800-COACH. Don't approach them. Where are the Indianapolis Colts? I got another one for you. Remember when we as Cleveland Browns fans, we were jealous of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and our former quarterback, Baker Mayfield? Where is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? They just lost today to the lowly Miami Dolphins, and they are not going to make the playoffs, fellas. If you would have told me the first 4 or 5 games of the season that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield would not make the NFL playoffs, where they at? I haven't seen them in a while. If you see
Baker and the Baker Bros. Baker and the Baker Bros.
If you've seen them in a while, let me know. Call 1-800-COACH. How about those Detroit Lions? Dan Campbell, all my relatives.
Dan Gamble.
And Detroit talking all that trash. They started the season off 4-1. I told you that when you lose 2 coordinators like they lost in Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, that it was going to affect this team. But no. I got a lot of pushback after they started 4-1. Where are the Detroit Lions now? They have been eliminated from the playoffs. I haven't seen any of that bravado. Where are the Detroit Lions and the Detroit Lions fans? And last but not least, the biggest AP beat that I got is, remember way back in the day when Clemson football was a powerhouse in the NCAA?
Valley.
Anybody seen Dabo Swinney lately? Where is Dabo Swinney? He ain't been the same since Ohio State beat him in the playoff. People have not seen.
He don't even go to the local Waffle House anymore.
He don't even go to the local Waffle House. There's been sightings. Maybe that's Dabo, but nothing has really panned out. If anybody out there has seen Dabo Swinney since the Ohio State Buckeyes beat him a couple years ago, please call 1-800-COACH. Those are my APBs. Come on, man.
And if you see them, don't approach them because they're dangerous. Don't approach them.
Yeah, don't approach them. They're dangerous. Just call the number, 1-800-COACH. Now, a little bit of controversy last week, fellas. I want to touch on this about the mystery Brown of the week. And, I got a lot of feedback. I talked to some people that regularly listen to the show and trying to get their ideas because I wanted to be fair about this. I just wanted to be fair. And I thought I knew how this was going to shake out, but I think you're going to be a little surprised at how close this was. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I was going to go with Hot Rod. I thought you had to say the name, T, and I thought you were close. The name was right at the tip of your tongue.
On the tip of my tongue.
Yep, but Hot Rod said Winslow, so that was the way my vote was going to go. But this thing was close, man. In terms of percentages, it was 52% one way, 48% another way.
Okay. In favor of?
Hey, listen, I'm about to give you the results. The winner of the Mystery Brown of last week was Mr. Hot Rod Rodney Young.
And the fact that 48% of y'all thought that the captain won, shame on all of y'all. That's just haterism.
Oh, man. Oh, so now instead of it being 7-5, Hot Rod leads me 8-4, man. 8-4. Oh.
Listen, I heard this from a number of people. And I went back and I watched the film, but I heard this from a number of people. A lot of people felt like, Cap, you gave it away when you said tight end. Okay. When you said, who is the tight end for the Browns, the Warrior, that clued Hot Rod in.
That clued him.
Because everybody said they didn't think Hot Rod had a clue before he heard that. And then he heard, Hot Rod, can you confirm or deny that?
When he said that he was a tight end and that he was the one that fell off the bike, the motorcycle, I knew then he was talking about Kellen Winslow Jr. If you wouldn't have said that, Cap, I was completely clueless.
Man.
I was clueless.
Okay.
But the 48% of y'all, I want y'all to understand
Appreciate
the
y'all. I
haterism that
appreciate
y'all
y'all.
had.
I
Just
appreciate
hating on the
y'all.
coach.
I appreciate
Haters.
y'all. Next time y'all vote me in. Next time y'all be the 52% and him be the 48%. Next time.
Fellas, well, this is the last Mystery Brown of the year. I got another one. All right, got another one. I got one where
Hands
T
up,
can
Hot
kinda,
Rod.
yeah, hands up. T, you can come back and win this one. Okay? Here it is. Clue number 1. I was drafted in the early 2000s. Drafted in the early 2000s. I played for the Browns during a time of constant coaching turnover. Constant coaching turnover. My position required me to be both physical and versatile. I was part of at least one Browns season that started with optimism and ended in frustration. My best traits didn't always show up on the stat sheet.
Who's the guy they used to call the Quiet Storm? What was his name? The defensive end, the Quiet Storm. Oh man.
I spent multiple seasons with the Browns. I was considered a glue guy by my teammates. My
Brown.
Nope.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Courtney Brown.
My jersey number was not a single-digit number.
Andre Davis.
I played on the defensive side of the ball.
Who's the guy that took his helmet off a game against Kansas City? Oh man.
I was part of the Cleveland Browns secondary. It's a tough one.
Dalen McCutcheon?
Dalen McClutchin, hot rod.
9-4 now.
Yeah, 48% about that. 48% about that.
9-4.
I would have never got that.
Yeah, I would have
never got that
one.
one. Hey, man,
Yeah.
that's a good job.
Yeah, I don't remember much about his game. I really don't. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
neither do I.
Yeah, I don't remember much about his game.
His father played in the league.
Lawrence McCutcheon,
Yeah.
the running back for the Rams, LA Rams, back in the day.
Dalen was a cornerback.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I remember his dad. Okay.
That was Dalen McCutcheon. He was there with, I think, Brodney Poole was a safety. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Man.
Okay.
Man.
Okay.
That's a good one, man.
Gotcha.
I never would have got that.
Gotcha. Yeah, 9-4. Wow.
All right. Good job. Now we got our start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. I believe it's Hot Rod. It's your week. What do you got, man?
So start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. We're going to talk action movies.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
Yep.
So the first action movie, Die Hard.
Ooh, okay. That's a
with
good one.
Bruce Willis.
It's one of my favorites.
The second action movie is Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
The third one is Rambo with Sylvester Stallone. And the fourth one is Action Jackson with Carl Weathers.
Okay. I need some clarification on something. When you say Rambo, are you talking about the first one? Because the first one was First Blood.
Yes.
So you're talking about that one?
First Blood. Yes, sir.
First Blood.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me see. Give me a second.
This is tough.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay.
I am going to start First Blood. One of my favorite all-time movies. You're going to talk to me, soldier. What's your name? Rambo? Chanje. Oh, I love that part. All right. Secondly, I'm going to bench Die Hard, one of my all-time favorite movies, Bruce Willis. I mean, there was not a boring part of that movie at all. So I am benching Die Hard. I am cutting Action Jackson. One of my favorite actors is Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
I
late
loved him
Carl
as
Weathers.
Apollo Creed, but I liked
Yeah.
anything that Carl Weathers did.
Mhm.
So I would be cutting Action Jackson, and I would be erasing Commando. Never really liked the movie Commando. If it was erased from this world, I don't think anybody would miss it, to be quite honest with
gotcha.
you.
Gotcha.
So that was an easy one for me.
Okay, I'm kind of similar to you, L Train. I'm gonna start Rambo, First Blood, love it. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone, I loved all of them. Rocky series, all that. So I'm gonna start Rambo. I'm going to bench Die Hard. I'm gonna bench Die Hard. I'm gonna cut Action Jackson, and like you, easy. I'm gonna erase Commando. Gonna erase Commando.
We're in
Yep.
lockstep. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. Hot Rod, what do you got?
So I'm going to start Die Hard. I'm going to bench Rambo. I am going to cut Commando.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to cut Action Jackson
Action Jackson.
and
Okay.
erase Commando.
Erase Commando. Okay.
all right. So we were all in lockstep
All
with
in
the
lockstep
Commando.
with Commando. Yep.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I don't mind the Die Hard over First Blood. I don't mind that one. That was a good one. Okay. That was a good one, Hot Rod. It got me thinking some of my favorite movies.
There you go.
For sure. Some of my favorite movies. Fellas, 2025, man. Time for our parting shots. What do you have for your parting shots?
I'm going to start first. I'm going to keep it simple. Being on this podcast with you fellas, okay? L Train, you the coach, okay? You coach women's basketball. You learned under the late Flip Saunders back in the day, amongst other duties. So when you call me and say, hey, man, how about being a guest on, this podcast? Hey, man, I looked at it as an honor because I had seen you and Rod from time to time on YouTube. And I remember the first time I saw Rod, break down the Ohio State Buckeyes, I said, man, this guy is pretty good, He's pretty good. So for you to invite me on this podcast, hey, man, it's a whirlwind. It really, really is. It's a pleasure. I love it. I look forward to it because I'm just an old sports fan. That's all I am. I'm just an old sports fan, a guy that's just a fan of the game and a guy that's a fan of, sports talk radio as a whole. So just being on this podcast, man, it's the highlight of my week because, I grind all week. I'm retired from the Navy, but I still work just as hard as I do, when I was in the Navy, man. So I look forward to these Sundays being on with you two guys, okay? You two experts, because I'm just a fan. That's all I am, and it's probably indicative of me being behind Rod 9-4 in the Browns, And, I go back to the days of Brian Sipes. So you get me when you ask these, early 2000 questions when I was deployed in the Middle East and, missing some Cleveland Brown season. I need you to go back to the 70s and 80s and ask me about them guys, man. Go back to the 70s and 80s.
All right.
But being on this podcast, man, that's my party shot with you two fellas. Love y'all. I love all both of y'all.
Love you too, man.
Appreciate you, man. Love you too, man. I echo those sentiments. You know what I mean? When L came and asked me to do it, I had been thinking that, he came and said, hey, I wanted to talk some Ohio State football. And it started a fire in me. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can do this. This is something I've always wanted to do, is just talk sports and, and talk Cleveland sports. And so, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm loving it. Following is getting bigger. Of course, I started my own sports podcast, the Locker Room, which it just piggybacks off of this, and I'm just 2025 was a great year for me, but I think 2026 is going to be even better. But of course I wouldn't be who I was without sending this parting shot. Jason Lloyd of The Athletic. He made the most asinine statement this week in saying that Shedeur Sanders was the worst quarterback in modern history.
Wow.
And shout out to Garrett Bush, because G. Bush dug into him on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports
Good.
Show, and then eviscerated him on the barbershop.
Good.
And but my shout to him is Cleveland media has to be better. The goalpost moving, the narrative always changing. I'm sure they'll find criticisms for Shador and his play today.
Yeah.
It is so obvious. You have a platform, you have a national platform, and you want to just dog this kid because you have some type of hidden agenda. So Jason Lloyd, my shout out will be to you. I need you to get better. I need Mary Kay Cabot. I need her to be better. Some of the cats on 92.3 The Fan, because Cap got me into them now. Well, I've been listening to them. Some of them dudes on there need to be better, okay, and have facts. But my shout out is going to be to Jason Lloyd and also to Garrett Bush for not getting angry, but bringing facts and just tearing up the narrative. So that's my parting shot.
Great parting shots, fellas. Great parting shots. I'm going to piggyback off of a couple of your parting shots. I think sometimes technology can get a bad rap, man. I think you have, like when we were growing up, we used to always be outside playing somewhere. Now you have these iPhones. Kids are always on their iPhones. They're always playing their video games. And so it is my belief that, kids are not getting outside as much. They're not reading as much. They always got a screen in front of their face. Well, this podcast, it's something that really accentuates the fact that not all technology is bad. Like when I look at T, you and my relationship, I don't think I have seen you since my parents passed away, not in person. So this allows us to open up the gates to that and communicate with each other at least once a week. You and I used to text back and forth about sports almost every day, but we never really had a chance to see each other and talk to each other and be on screen. And Hot Rod, you and I were pretty tight in high school, man, but you and I haven't seen each other face to face since 1991 graduation, man.
Wow.
That has been
a long time ago.
That has
man,
been
y'all
a
are
long
old. Y'all are old, man.
That has been I remember Rod walking across the stage to get his diploma.
Wow.
And that's the last time that Hot Rod and I have ever seen each other in person, man. So this is more than just a sports talk show. It's allowed me to enhance relationships that I really care about even more. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your time, because here's the deal. I've had a lot of people doing podcast stuff like this. We have not missed a day of 3 the Hard Way where you guys have called up and say, hey, man, I can't make it. I remember times where I've come on sick. I'm sure there are times, T, where you haven't been feeling well. Hot Rod, you haven't been feeling well, but we find a way to make the show. And although this is a little show for now, I can't wait for the day where Warrensville is playing for a state championship, or the Cleveland Browns are playing in the Super Bowl, or the Cavs are playing for, and we get to go back, because that's going to happen. We get to go back to Warrensville and Cleveland and do a show, man. I can't wait for that, because here's what you don't know. There are a lot of people in Cleveland and a lot of people in Warrensville that pay attention to our show. And so I know if that were to ever happen, it would be epic. So hats off to you guys. Hats off to the show. That is my parting shot for 2025.
There you go.
Appreciate you, fellas.
There you
This
go.
this has been another episode of 3 the Hard Way. Last show of the season. T, anything you got to say to the 3 the Hard Way fans last time for this year?
Hey, I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Tell a friend about us. Come on back, because the show is going to get better. We're going to continue having fun, but we appreciate you all support. We really, really appreciate you. And be safe this week, and be safe on New Year's Eve as you go out there. Yep.
What do you got, Hot Rod, for 3 the Hard Way Nation out there, man?
Listen, 3 the Hard Way Nation, we appreciate you so much, man.
Big time.
Happy New Year to you. Please be safe out here, because there are some crazy folks that be running around out here. So be safe. Take care of yourself. And if you think 3 the Hard Way was good in 2025, wait till 2026. We're going to blow the roof off this sucker.
Sure.
3 the Hard Way Nation, we salute you. And Hot Rod told us that you will listen. And as always, from my standpoint, we will see you when We see ya.
see
3, the hard way
Hard way.
nation. Have a happy
Peace.
and safe new year.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.